Welcome to this month's edition of Okaloosa Eye on Crime with Emerald Coast Crime Stoppers. Now this episode, we're going to showcase an unsolved murder and thefts from a business up in the Holt area.
We're also going to highlight some pretty spiffy canine demo videos and an award for a legendary local canine handler, as well as revisit a 45-year-old Niceville murder mystery. First up, Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office is still seeking information in a 2013 Fort Walton Beach homicide. The Okaloosa Sheriff's Office is asking for any information regarding the shooting death of a Fort Walton Beach man inside his apartment back on April 27, 2013. 32-year-old Paris Quentin Matthews was shot once around midnight at Renee Lynn Apartments on Woodham Street, and that took place after two men knocked on his door and barged in when he opened it. The suspects were described as black males wearing hoodies, and they had their lower faces covered.
And the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office is also searching for some ATVs and a trailer that was stolen from a Holt business back in March. This actually happened during the overnight hours on March 19th. Unknown individuals, forced entry into Preston Works Incorporated, which is located on Armistead Lane up in Holt. They stole keys to a company Ford truck, which was hitched to a black flatbed trailer. They then loaded two Polaris ATVs onto the trailer and stole the truck, the trailer, and the ATVs. Now, a portable MaxStar TIG welder and a large Trailblazer welder were also taken. Now, the Ford truck was actually later recovered with some serious damage to it, apparently, at the Bryant Bridge boat ramp. But the trailer and the ATVs have not been located, so anybody with information about where those ATVs or that trailer might be, remember, 100% anonymous, you can contact Emerald Coast Crime Stoppers.
Next case coming to us from the Defuniak Springs Police Department. They're searching for a TV thief. On March 10th, a white male with what appeared to be blonde or sandy-colored beard and wearing a black Florida Gators ball cap, a black long-sleeve shirt, blue jeans, glasses, and a reflective blue and yellow vest entered the store. The subject proceeded to the rear and into an area where only employees are permitted access, but he then took two televisions, a 75-inch and a 60-inch, and left without paying. He loaded those TVs in a green and silver van, and anyone with information, of course, can contact Emerald Coast Crime Stoppers anonymously, 863-TIPS, emeraldcoastcrimestoppers.com, or submit a tip via the P3 mobile app.
And next up, the Walton County Sheriff's Office is seeking information on a lewd and lascivious suspect. This is following an incident that happened at a Walton County High School sporting event. On the evening of April 9th, between 4:30 and 5, an actual bus driver from Escambia County noticed a male subject committing a lewd act in his car in the north parking lot of South Walton High School during a women's lacrosse game. Now, the Walton County Sheriff's Office is actively seeking information regarding this white male. He was middle-aged, late 30s to early 40s, short, dark-colored hair. He was wearing a light blue T-shirt. Now, the vehicle, which you see here, he was driving, is described as a four-door compact car, silver or gray, possibly a Hyundai Accent hatchback. So anyone with information can contact Emerald Coast Crime Stoppers or the Walton County Sheriff's Office.
And we've got a picture for you to look at here as well with the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office trying to ID these men that are using stolen credit cards. Sometime between March 18th at 10 p.m. and the 19th about 5:30, a vehicle burglary took place at 218 Dolphin Estate Court in Destin. And that victim's stolen credit card was then used at the Destin Target by the two individuals you've seen here. So if you have any information on that one, let us know.
And we want to remind folks, too, that if you do have information about any crime, go to emeraldcoastcrimestoppers.com. Of course, you can call the 863-TIPS, and make sure you follow us on social media to keep up with all the newest wanted folks and, of course, all the newest active cases that law enforcement is seeking information on. Now, the men and women who are the public's lifeline to first responders are the unsung heroes of those front lines.
Communications officers have to be the voice of calm in chaos, and often when lives are at risk, and they do their jobs 24/7, 365 with no fanfare but with great dedication. Each April across the U.S. we take note of their vital contributions with National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week.
And the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office Communications Unit was also recently honored for its work with LifeNet Health. In 2017, dispatchers referred 190 individuals to LifeNet for organ transplants, and out of the 27 that were suitable, 8 cornea donations were made and 1 tissue donation. So for more information about that organization, go to lifenethealth.org.
And next up, we want to do one of our favorites, is always the canines, and we're going to showcase some of the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office canine teams because they were recently taking part in certification trials in Escambia County.
That's right, and first up is Deputy Elliot Howard and Canine Body in action. Then we'll go straight to Deputy Joe Trimboli and Canine Asuda. And now let's move to our first list of wanted fugitives that local law enforcement is currently seeking.
And again, if you can provide any information that leads to an arrest of one of these folks through Emerald Coast Crime Stoppers, you can earn a cash reward of up to $3,000, and you never have to give your name.
That's right. And first up is a new face to the show, Jeffrey Brian Way, and he's being sought by the Walton County Sheriff's Office for failure to register as a sexual offender.
Next up, Billy Leon Thorne is wanted for sexual battery in violation of probation on a charge of aggravated assault. Thorne's last known address was on Live Oak Church Road in Crestview.
29-year-old Eric Nathan Reynolds, who was last known to live in Crestview, he's wanted for felony battery and violation of probation for aggravated stalking and burglary.
Jacqueline Suzanne Stacy was last known to live in Fort Walton Beach. She's wanted for an order revoking bond and failure to appear for possession of a controlled substance.
And deputies are still searching for Dusty Lee McHouston, who's 31 years old. He's wanted for violation of probation for resisting arrest, battery on a law enforcement officer, and possession of a controlled substance, last known to live on Whitmer Ranch Road up in Laurel Hill.
Anjali Johnson, wanted for aggravated battery, last known to live on Mixon Road in Defuniak Springs.
And another new face is Sean Franklin Ruiz. He's wanted for possession of a firearm by a convicted felon and possession of marijuana. He also has some warrants out of Santa Rosa County, but he was last known to live on Dell Road over in Fort Walton Beach.
Still looking for Reginald Dwayne Muse. Muse is wanted for VOP for grand theft, burglary, and aggravated stalking.
And the Walton County Sheriff's Office is still searching for Chad Alford for aggravated assault and cause cruel death, pain, or suffering to an animal. Now, he was last known to live on Powell Drive in Niceville.
And contact Emerald Coast Crime Stoppers if you know where to locate Dennis Taylor Jr. He's wanted for failure to appear for fraud, providing false statements to obtain unemployment compensation, last known to live on Brooks Street in Fort Walton Beach.
And another new addition to the show is 44-year-old Eric Devon Klossel. He's wanted for failure to register as a sexual offender, last known to live on Jenny Lane in Crestview.
This next person is William Brian Harnish, and Harnish is wanted for VOP for possession of a controlled substance and possession of drug paraphernalia. Last known address was in Freeport.
20-year-old Leanne Summer Lawson, last known to live on Seibert Avenue in Destin, she's wanted for a violation of probation for possession of cocaine.
Lucas Williams is wanted for an armed robbery that took place on October 27, 2016 in Defuniak Springs. However, he was last known to live in Pensacola.
And as we like to remind you, there are 3 simple, secure ways that you can contact Emerald Coast Crime Stoppers and provide anonymous information. We have the tip line at 863-TIPS. You can also go to emeraldcoastcrimestoppers.com and submit a web tip. And of course, you can also submit a tip using the P3 Tips mobile app.
Now, if you're not familiar with that third method, we want to show you just how easy it is to use.
And now we're going to move right back to the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office K-9's gunfire apprehension work at the recent certification trials with Sergeant Tony Kelly and K-9 Rico, and then Deputy John Duenas and K-9 Axel.
And you got to love those dogs in action.
Absolutely.
But now we're going to go back to some more mug shots of some people who have warrants but whose whereabouts are unknown. First up, Timothy James Howard, wanted for larceny, resisting an officer in recovery of stolen property, and failure to appear on a fraud charge. Last known address was Bearhead Road in Defuniak Springs.
And the Walton County Sheriff's Office is still searching for Pamela Shute for trafficking in a controlled substance, possession of a controlled substance by misrepresentation, fraud, forgery, or deception, last known to live over in Santa Rosa Beach.
And this next one's laundry list. Edward Fountains wanted for failure to appear for carrying a concealed weapon, possession of a weapon and ammo by a convicted felon, possession of a controlled substance and narcotics equipment, and driving with a license suspended or revoked. Last known address for Fountain was Wilson Street in Crestview.
Next up is Seamus Mason Cotner Marshall, who's 22 years old. He's wanted for violation of probation for battery and fraud, and he's also got some warrants out of Santa Rosa County.
And George Emmerich II's been on this list for quite a while, so we'd love to take him off. If you know where he is, contact Emerald Coast Crime Stoppers. He's wanted by the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office for violating probation on a charge of domestic violence strangulation and aggravated battery.
And certainly another one that we would love to put behind bars is Alexis Wilmer Mondragon, who's wanted by the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office for sexual battery, sex offense against a child, and lewd and lascivious molestation, last known to live on Spencer Drive, and he's been on the show quite a bit, and we certainly would love to know where he is.
That's right. Next up is Tony Page Jr., though. He's wanted for failure to appear for grand theft. He was last known to live on Bay Street in Fort Walton Beach.
And this is 23-year-old Christopher Lee Deans, and he's being sought for violation of probation for burglary and grand theft of a motor vehicle, last known to live on Taylor Street in Fort Walton Beach.
Moving over to Walton County now, Brittany Sanders wanted by the Sheriff's Office there on charges of VOP for creating, using, or possessing counterfeit credit cards with intent to use the counterfeit information.
22-year-old Joshua James Picard, he's wanted by the Walton County Sheriff's Office for a violation of probation for possession with intent to sell, manufacture, or deliver a controlled substance, possession of marijuana, and possession of drug paraphernalia, last known to live in Defuniak Springs.
And here's a Fort Walton Beach Police Department case. Juan Ramon Marquez, he's wanted by them for trafficking in stolen property. His last known address was on Jonquil Avenue in Fort Walton.
And Okaloosa deputies are still searching for Roderick James Rudderson Jr., and he's wanted for possession of synthetic narcotics within 1,000 feet of a school, and failure to appear for driving while license suspended or revoked, last known to live on Mooney Road in Fort Walton Beach.
And we have Mark Robert Fitzgerald, wanted by the Walton County SO for grand theft and contracting without a license, and his last known address was in Santa Rosa Beach.
And last up on this list is another one that's wanted for failure to register as a sexual offender, and that is Jerry Ray Arms, who's 44 years old, and he was last known to live in Niceville.
And now we have just one OCSO K-9 demo video to share. So last but certainly not least is Deputy Derek York and K-9 Nico. And we want to mention that Deputy Cutler Peterson and K-9 Miro were not able to make this round of certifications.
But all the teams were certified and several earned awards for their skills. Now, another highlight of the certification trials was the recognition of a former OCSO handler and trainer with decades of experience who is still making contributions.
That's right. Former Lieutenant Roy Parker was inducted in the Florida Region 1 United States Police K-9 Association Hall of Fame. Now, the video is pretty grainy that we're going to show you, but you can certainly hear Sheriff Larry Ashley. He is a former K-9 officer who was trained by Lieutenant Parker.
This is Roy Parker, HOF inductee number 3, USPCA State of Florida Region 1 Hall of Fame, class of 2018. something?
Oh, always got something to say about Roy. You don't want to give a politician a mic, so I'll just say it.
Well, you
here.
took those, you said that.
Being a former canine handler and working for this man has been one of the honors of my life. He has forgotten more about dog training than I will ever know. But not only, past the dog training, he's just a good, loyal friend, a good man. He's taught me a lot, not just about dog training, but about leadership and being there for your folks, keeping them informed. This guy, he would give you the shirt off his back. I think you all know that. He doesn't suffer fools easily, but he's suffered me a few times, and I just want to say congratulations and what a great friend you are and what a great asset you are to the United States Police Canine Association. Well deserved, friend.
And a big congratulations go out to him. He is still a mainstay at the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office, helping out with facilities and maintenance, and still involved with the USPCA local canine certification.
And still keeping everybody laughing all the
Yes,
time.
very much.
Now, when you talk about cold cases, this next one we're going to show you is going way, way back. I mean, 45 years to be exact. Deborah Espy was reported missing on March 12th, 1973, and then her body was found about a month later.
And someone knows the answers to the questions that are still lingering to this day. Now, the hope is that someone will share that information with law enforcement.
Investigator Michael Smith says 19-year-old Deborah Espy was a quiet, all-American girl, but the Niceville resident's life came to a violent end back on March 12th, 1973.
It started as a missing persons report. The father of Miss Espy had driven her to college that morning, and she was due home that evening. She never showed up. This was in March of 1973. The father contacted the police department and in turn the sheriff's department and reported her missing, and just was frantic, didn't know what had happened to her. And then approximately a month later, in April, there was a military member that was out riding a motorcycle out on the range and came across a shallow grave when actually could see part of her legs protruding up out of the ground. And of course he notified law enforcement that he had found this grave, and they exhumed it, and she was identified through her dental records as Deborah Espy.
Deborah died from blunt force trauma to the head. She also had a broken jaw, and investigators suspect she was sexually assaulted. She had been known to hitchhike, but Smith does not think she would have accepted a ride from a stranger.
Based on the interviews that I've read so far, she was a pretty shy person, pretty quiet, and would not have gotten into a car with somebody she didn't know. So my personal belief is that it was somebody that she was acquainted with.
Smith says the sheriff's office is reanalyzing the evidence in this case and looking for any new leads that the public can provide.
If there's anybody that has any information, no matter how old it is, no matter how many times it's been looked at, we'll look at it again.
If you have any information on the murder of 19-year-old Deborah Espy of Niceville in March 1973, please contact the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office at 850-651-7400 or Emerald Coast Crime Stoppers at 850-863-TIPS. And as we're getting ready to wrap up here shortly, we still have a few more fugitives we want to locate, and we're asking for your help in finding.
That's right, and remember, you can phone, send it on the web, or mobile tips, all 100% anonymous. Now, first up on this last list is Stephen Gabriel Arnett. He's wanted for violation of probation for domestic violence battery and non-payment of child support.